This is chapter 5.6, quick review, page 493 from our Precalculus textbook. We're going to do the odd numbered problems 1, 3, and 5 from this quick review set. In exercises 1 through 4, find an angle between 0 degrees and 180 degrees that is the solution to the equation. And the book does not include the unit circle, but I include it here. So we're looking for an angle somewhere between 0 and 180 degrees such that the cosine of that angle equals 3/5. What we're going to do is we're going to undo this cosine operation to get this number, this unknown a by itself, which is a measure of an angle. And to do that, we're going to take the inverse cosine of the whole equations, which we symbolize by cosine to the -1 power, really signifies inverse. So the inverse cosine of cosine cancels. The cosine and inverse cosine cancel each other. So A is equal to cosine -1, which means the inverse cosine of the fraction 3/5. And so we're going to go to our calculator. And our calculator, we have to make sure, first of all, is set in degrees, and this one is. So we can escape and go out to get a calculator page. And we're going to go to inverse cosine. So cosine -1. And have 3/5. So 3 divided by 5. We should get an angle between 0 and 90 degrees. And we get 53.13 degrees. We'll call it approximately 53.13 degrees. And when we have irrational numbers, I always like to leave them as approximately. So A is approximately equal to 53.13 degrees. Next, we're going to go on to problem number 3, which is the cosine of angle A is equal to -0.68. And again, our limitations are between 0 degrees and 180 degrees. And in this instance, the cosine of this angle is negative. So our negative cosine values start showing up here as we get past 90 degrees on our way to 180 degrees. So same operations last time. We undo this cosine by taking the inverse cosine. And for that, the inverse cosine of cosine is just the angle A itself. And so we have cosine -1 of -0.68. And we go to our calculator. And we go to cosine -1 of -0.68. And we get 132.844 degrees. Okay, so that's going to be over there somewhere. 132 degrees is kind of close to 3 pi over 4, 135 degrees. So in that neighborhood. And why are we doing this exercise? Because we're going into a chapter where we're looking at law of cosines. And to use law of cosines, we're going to be finding an angle by taking the inverse cosine. In exercises 5 and 6, solve the equation in terms of x and y for A, cosine A, and B, the angle A between 0 and 180 degrees. So what we're doing is we're trying to solve for this cosine A. And to do that, we're going to cast off everything that is not cosine A. And the first thing we'll do is we're going to subtract x squared and y squared from both sides of this equation. And now we're going to have to do the same thing to the other side, minus x squared minus y squared. And we have cancellation here. So we end up with negative 2xy cosine A is equal to 9 squared. I guess we can just call 9 squared 81, minus x squared minus y squared. So we just switched this negative 2xy cosine A over to the other side of the equal sign. Our next step is going to be to divide both sides of the equation by negative 2xy. And so we divide the right side likewise by negative 2xy, and we cancel negative 2xy over negative 2xy, cancel to equal 1. So we're left with the cosine of A is equal to 81 minus x squared minus y squared over negative 2xy. And that is going to be our answer to part A. And now we go to our answer to part B. Now, part B is like the exercises 1 and 3 that we did just earlier. So we're going to take the inverse cosine of both sides of this equation. So we're going to end up with A by itself, because the inverse cosine of cosine A is going to be equal to cosine negative 1 of this whole fraction here, 81 minus x squared minus y squared, that's y squared, over negative 2xy. And so this is our answer, from boxing in blue, to part B. So I hope this has been helpful, and good luck with the rest of the problems. Thank you for viewing.